Greetings, petrolheads. Welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Today, I revised the UL3, if I could find it. There it is. Resulting in the UL4, of course. Basically, the front end is almost the same. If we go back to the UL3 and then over to the UL4, you will see that down here I turned this grill upside down, added a few vents here. These fog lights are now square rather than round, and also a little bit smaller, so they blend in with the rest on the bottom here. We have this ornament here, which is a nice statue, and I chose this one over the other one, the V-shaped one, which and I'm gonna use this from now on because this has a spear and like looks like a fighter or something, or a javelin thrower or something like that. But because it has this long like spear or lance or whatever it is, that I think fits better to Athena overall than the V-shaped one. And on the side everything else is still the same, and on the rear we have some new taillights using those fixtures that we discovered recently. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's still a very simple and kind of empty rear end apart from the taillights, but you know, I don't really think I'm gonna make this rear end work very well. So yeah, under the bonnet there's a new there's a revised 5.2 liter V8. We now have more power, more torque, like 300 horsepower now, which is pretty nice in most cars, and a 6,000 RPM redline rather than 5.5. Economy is now better, 13.4 liters per 100 kilometers rather than 14.4. You see, Athena has never been a company that puts that much priority onto economy, which is of course why we can't sell our cars in the US without paying huge fines, because they use too much fuel. So we're missing out on a huge potential market. But overall the drivability has improved, the comfort has improved on this thing, the prestige is now higher because we have more power and torque. Weight has increased because there's now more entertainment, and even so, and with the fact that we are making more power, we're still using less fuel. So we're taking a step into the right direction. You know, a V8 SUV is never going to be an eco car, but it is. I mean, the fuel consumption in 1996 for a 5.2 liter V8 SUV, that's acceptable, I think. 13.4 liters per 100 kilometers, that's not so bad. And we have a 5-speed automatic gearbox in this thing with a manual locker still. And again, still, this thing is really good off-road. If you put chunky off-road tires on, that's 52.1. And we're still doing 0 to 100 in 6.4 seconds. What if we actually put sports tires on this thing? Still 6.4. So this does 0 to 100 on off-road tires just as quickly as it would do it on sports tires. That's impressive. That's very impressive, in fact. Yeah, but that's because we have like pretty much no wheel spin at all. Fifth gear, it has a lot of overdrive, and overall the top speed is at like 224.8 kilometers an hour. Again, it's very good for an SUV in 1996. Yeah, a 15-second quarter mile time again. Pretty damn quick, considering what it is. So overall, how does this do on the markets? We are doing very well in utility, sport, luxury, which is exactly where this thing should be good. And then convertible premium. This is not a convertible, and I don't think it ever would be, but you know, whatever. Let's clone this one and make an inline 6 version of it as well. Maybe we can make this thing a little bit more economical if we put a smaller engine in it. It sounds about right, doesn't it? So let's see, we gotta go to 90s engines, and there we are going to have the Hecate inline 6, where actually this seems like a pretty good option. 3.5 liter, 250 horsepower. Let's put this one in here. And it uses more fuel. Okay, so in that case we gotta retune it. Retweak it. 3.5 liter, 250. Now, advanced to 1996, of course. Oh, that's not a turbocharged one, that's why. It's a naturally aspirated one. And in that case, it does make sense that it uses more fuel, or barely more fuel anyway, because it's got a lot more weight to lug around. Ball bearing, a lot less compression, of course. Bigger exhaust, but also we need a lot less boost, like 0.7 bars perhaps. Now I'm gonna decrease the, no, not the compressor size necessarily. I'm gonna decrease the turbine size. And I'm gonna decrease the AR ratio. And I'm gonna decrease the cam profile a little bit, so that we are making a lot of torque in the low RPMs, but yeah, the power is gonna drop off later. So what do we get here? 275 horsepower. It's not that much less than the V8. Let's see how much fuel this would use. Yeah, there we go. Much better. It also weighs almost as much. I don't really think I want this 3.5 liter to make this much power. So what do I do to reduce its power? Reduce the compressor size, I guess. Yeah. That's also gonna give us a broader torque band. $255 horsepower. I think that's good. If we get on to a 6,000 RPM redline, we will also gain more reliability. Turbo kicks in at less than 2,000 RPM. Okay, now it uses more fuel than before, but let's see, we can counteract that probably. Although increasing the compressor size did give us some benefits that are not just about the power. but also better economy. Let's see how this does. Slightly better. Yeah, okay, that's better still. 11.77 liters per 100 kilometer. Man, this does make a huge difference. This is still too big. Actually, it isn't. It gives us better power and better economy if we leave it this way. That's a 3.5 liter turbo then, with 255 horsepower. Okay, yeah. It likes eating those intercoolers. And this is pretty impressive, isn't it, for a 1996? A 3.5 liter turbo inline 6 SUV weighing 1700 kilograms, but using less than 12 liters per 100 kilometers. So that's, I think I can be okay with this. Let's see, acceleration wise 7.1 seconds 0 to 100, not bad. $15.6 quarter mile, also not bad. Great comfort and drivability still. Even though it's not as drivable as the V8, because of course it's a turbo rather than naturally aspirated. 48.8 is still really good. Gonna make this thing really easy to drive, and I think that's what we really want. I mean, sportiness is obviously low, but that's not the purpose of this car anyway. So I think overall that might be just the right thing to do for this car. Give it a V8 with a little bit more power, and also a slightly less powerful version that's also more economical. I don't think I want to go down to a 4-cylinder and you know, make this an eco SUV, because an eco SUV is just a logical contradiction in itself, I think, because an SUV is never going to be economical unless you really make it a 3-cylinder hybrid or something like that. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Automation. Leave a like or a comment if you did. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.